Sure, here's a long video script in English based on your request. Using the scenario, Samuel L. Jackson kicked off The View after heated showdown with Whoopi Goldberg. The script is written in a narrative dialogue style, built for a dramatic, late-night talk show segment, with rising tension, emotional realism, and a climactic exit ending on an unresolved viral-ready note. Each paragraph is extensive and dense up to the character limit, and no headings or paragraph numbering are included, as requested. The studio lights glimmered off the glossy table of The View, as the audience erupted in cheers when Samuel L. Jackson strode confidently onto the stage, dressed in a sharp charcoal suit and signature Kangol hat. Jackson flashed his signature grin and threw up a peace sign to the crowd before giving Whoopi Goldberg a warm sigh. "Damn, y'all still got energy at this hour," he joked, drawing laughter from the co-hosts. "I thought daytime TV was supposed to be chill." Whoopi chuckled back. "We've been waiting for you, Samuel. You bring the fire." The segment opened with the usual pleasantry stock of his latest film, a Marvel project, and a Netflix series in development. The banter was relaxed, casual, even familial. Sonny Hostin teased Jackson about his affinity for swearing on set, while Ana Navarro brought up his surprise cameo at a college graduation ceremony that went viral last month. The mood was buoyant, the rhythm of the exchange as polished as a jazz riff, but then, the tone shifted. Whoopi leaned slightly forward, her voice soft but deliberate. "You know, Sam, you've always been outspoken, which we love. But lately, some people are wondering, do you think your political takes sometimes cross a line?" The studio grew a beat quieter. Jackson raised an eyebrow, sensing a turn. "Cross a line? Like what, Whoopi?" he said, his smile tightening. She gestured vaguely. "Well, some of your tweets, especially during the last election cycle." "Ah, very heated. I mean, calling half the country dumb as F. That's not exactly unity talk, is it?" Samuel blinked, adjusting his seat, then leaned forward. "Hold up, you brought me here to talk about movies and shows. But now we diving into Twitter commentary. Is this a talk show or a trial?" The audience gave a mixed reaction. Some laughed nervously, others murmured. Whoopi held up her hand in reassurance. "No one's putting you on trial, Sam, but you've always been about accountability, right? I mean, you say what you feel, so let's talk about that." He nodded slowly, lips pursed. "All right, here's what I feel. We got people out here spreading lies, trying to erase history, voting against education, books, basic rights. If calling that out makes me divisive, then damn right I'm divisive." The room quieted. Sarah N. shifted in her seat, unsure if she should jump in. Whoopi stayed calm but persistent. "But do you think just maybe there's a better way to reach people than through rage?" Samuel scoffed. "Rage? Who said I was raging? I'm passionate, I'm honest. That's what folks pay to see. Ain't nobody asking Clint Eastwood to tone it down when he talks crazy." The audience clapped lightly, but the tension hung heavy. Whoopi folded her arms. "But Clint Eastwood isn't on this table. You are, and we're asking because we care. Look, black voices carry weight, and when you call people names, it reflects back on all of us." Samuel's face stiffened. "So now I'm a liability to the community?" he asked, his voice sharpening. No, Whoopi began, but he raised his hand. "Let me talk. I've been in this game for 40 years. I've played slaves, addicts, kings, villains. I've marched, donated, stood in the fire. So don't sit there and imply I don't know the cost of words." His voice thundered slightly louder now, eyes locked with Whoopi's. The tension cracked like static in the air. Joy Behar tried to mediate with a joke. "Can we all agree that Sam's Twitter needs its own agent?" But it fell flat. The audience laughed weakly, clearly uncomfortable. Ana Navarro jumped in gently. "Sam, you're a force, but people watch you. Kids watch you. Maybe there's space for anger and still room for healing." "Yeah." Jackson shook his head, muttering under his breath. "Everybody wants healing after the damage is done. Nobody talks healing while the wound's still bleeding." He looked at Whoopi directly. "And if I'm too loud for daytime TV, maybe I'm on the wrong damn show." The crowd gasped slightly. Whoopi's face hardened. "Nobody said you were too loud. But if you can't take a question..." "Oh, I can take a question," Samuel cut in. "But I didn't come here to get preached at by folks who made a brand off-safe." Whoopi recoiled slightly. "Excuse me," she said. "You know exactly what I mean," he continued. "You sit here and dish it out, but when a black man gets fiery, it's a problem." The studio lights suddenly felt too bright. The audience was dead silent now. Jackson's hands clenched slightly on the edge of the table. Whoopi's expression, once open, turned steely. "I've been on this panel for almost 2 decades. Samuel, you don't get to question my work or my voice. Then don't question mine," he shot back. "Because I've earned it too. Maybe in different ways, but earned it all the same." A beat of silence passed that felt like thunder. Sonny Hostin tried to redirect. "Let's pivot to your role in the new civil rights drama. It's powerful work. We're past pivoting." "Sonny," Jackson said without looking at her. They made this about character, and I don't come on anyone's stage to get lectured like some out-of-pocket teenager. He stood suddenly, unclipping his mic. If you want soundbites, go dig through Twitter. I'm not here for ambushes. Whoopi stood as well. No one ambushed you, Sam. We asked questions. You just didn't like the answers. Damn right. I didn't, he snapped. Because it wasn't a conversation. It was a setup. The producers backstage could be seen frantically waving, unsure whether to cut to commercial or let it play out. The co-hosts sat frozen. Joy Behar looked like she wanted to vanish into her chair. Anna tried again. Sam, please don't go like this. Nah, I'm good, he said, walking toward the edge of the set. I'll go where the truth don't get filtered through daytime approval ratings. The audience was split between clapping, murmuring, and recording furiously. On their phones, a camera panned to Whoopi, whose face betrayed both fury and something deeper, betrayal, maybe, or exhaustion. That's unfortunate, she said, barely above a whisper. That's real, Samuel replied over his shoulder. The camera lingered awkwardly on the now empty chair where Jackson had sat just minutes ago. The mic he had discarded buzzing faintly with static. The studio was in an eerie half-silence, broken only by the whispers of audience members and a few stunned chuckles. Whoopi remained standing, one hand on the table, as if steadying herself. Well, she said, voice thin but firm, that was Samuel L. Jackson. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank him for coming. But even as the words left her mouth, they felt hollow, unresolved. No commercial break followed. Just a slow, awkward transition into the next topic, an interview with a Broadway cast that no one in the audience could now focus on online. Clips were already spreading. Hashtag Samuel L. Jackson, hashtag The View Meltdown, and hashtag Whoopi Clapback, all trended within an hour. The debate raged on. Was he ambushed, or did he overreact? Was Whoopi unfair, or simply doing her job? The clip would go on to garner millions of views, dissected frame by frame across podcasts, reaction videos, and cable news cycles. But one thing was clear, something had broken on that stage, and neither party was in a rush to fix it. As the next guest fumbled through light banter about opening night jitters, the energy in the room had not recovered. Joy and Sarah offered smiles that didn't quite reach their eyes. Whoopi remained quieter than usual, occasionally glancing to the empty seat beside her. The tension from earlier still hovered, unspoken but undeniable, like smoke after a fire. Viewers at home were texting friends, tweeting their takes, rewatching the moment on DVR. The segment didn't just happen, it hit. Like a live wire, it sparked conversation across every medium. And just as the producers cut to a final commercial, the camera accidentally caught Whoopi murmuring under her breath. He didn't have to walk out like that. But the mics were still live, and audiences heard it. The screen faded to black, but the story was far from over. No public statements were made for days. No apologies, no reconciliations, just a lingering silence between two powerful voices once thought to be allies. And in that silence, a cultural moment was born, raw and utterly unforgettable.